and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello Talking Towners, it is 2021 and if you're like me and a business owner, 2020 was pretty dire. Now 2021 is the time to kickstart your campaign in terms of sales. So why not join lots of other men and women from across the country on our online UK-wide networking events, both for Networking 90 and Speed 60. So check out iwanttonetwork.com and networking90.co.uk.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome into Talking Town in association with Networking 90 and Toby, my Labrador. I'm sure you can hear there as well, having a great time. He is probably howling for the removal of Paul Lambert, the same as you all are. It's Sunday, it's Talking Town, it's the #1 Ipswich Town podcast, and we want to hear from you guys. Blue Action have again been moved into action, if you like, and they've put the poster on the gates of Portman Road, which you can see on the top right hand side of this screen, and on the intro. What do you feel about that? Do you agree with it? Is it shameful? Is it the fall? What are your thoughts post Peterborough? We want to hear from all of you today, if we can, either in the live chat or on the show, to give you an idea of, we don't like to really run through a plan on Talking Town. I mean, I'm famous for doing it from the hip, but the agenda, if you like, from today is the Posh fallout, the Evans poster, the Chambers interview. What do you think about that? I've got my own strong thoughts on that one. I even went to bed early so I could bring you it fresh as a daisy. We've got Stuart Taylor, rotation may be coming into effect, and Ashton man of the match, then the ghost attack on the Media Mogul story. So if you've got anything to say about any of those items, we'll be covering them across the show, so just ask for the link. I can see somebody has made a comment in the chat called Jonah565. Jonah, it's a really good comment. Could I ask you to repost that when we get to a bit later on in the show and we talk about the coverage from the newspaper, the radio, etc. So joining me today is first and foremost a man who many of you asked for yesterday. You said you wanted his views. He went on the radio. He ripped it a complete and utter new one. It is, of course, Cruncher. You delivered the verdict on the radio. I won't hold it against you, as we were live at the time. But I
watched the catch up. Don't worry.
Yeah, it was a good show. It was a busy show. But yesterday, Chambers said, just to sort of jump ahead a little bit, in his interview, we threatened them a lot more.
Did we?
We never shot on target, did we?
75 minutes, I think, Nolan. That was the first shot. First shot on target, wasn't it? But
wow,
saying that shows how poor we are. We lost a game that the opposition didn't have a shot on target in. Work that one out.
It was. I mean, this really hurts Town fans when you say this, but it was two heavyweights of the third tier, showing the lack of quality, but equally being respectful of each other and sort of, you know, trying to just see where the other person's range was, and they got lucky. Let's be honest. McGuinness with his, Mr. Kipling slice.
The phrase you used yesterday: Aldian tacking a tent of a water pistol.
Well, it was. We turned up to a gunfight with a water pistol. I think Matt Phillips, let's bring Matt in. I think he was the man who come up that at half time. Craig Mearing, a spud gun. So let's get into the Peterborough review. So guys, if you've got something to say on the game yesterday, now's your chance to say it on the show or in the chat. Just ask for the link and I will drop it in. Where do we start with yesterday's absolute shit show? I'll tell you what, I'll tell you where I'll start. Yesterday, Pompey, Peterborough had 13 goals in their side minimum with Clark Harris and 15 assists minimum. Not even a water gun at least gets somebody wet. We've got one of those air guitars. We're pretending.
Super soakers, Matt, are quite useful, and we've got Aaron Drennan, and he's fucking useless.
Yeah, I mean, again, I said on the show yesterday, it's not really his fault, is it? He's out of his depth, and the management have put him in there. He's a burger flipper at Little Chef. We're asking him to go into the kitchens at the door.
Out of his depth, Matt. Even armbands wouldn't save Drennan. He's done. I mean, look. Yeah, but then again, you have to weigh it up and say, why, as a team, have we gone into? I'm confused, right? Is this a must? Because all the fans keep telling me it's a must-win season. We must get out of this division. Blah blah blah. Right? But yet the club are bumbling and sleeping their way through with no urgency, no intent. Like Watford, right? We all criticise Watford. We all take the mick out of Watford because they go through managers like they go through hot dinners. But they're in the pursuit of excellence. They are in the pursuit of ambition. You may not say you want to be a Watford, but you certainly don't want to be in Ipswich where you're just happy with the status quo.
Yeah, no, I agree. If we didn't know better, you'd think they were trying to ruin the club from the inside to take it out, wouldn't you? Got Norwich City Hall of Fame manager in there, Evans.
You love that.
Man, he's got a lower profile than a bloody most wanted list on the TIA or something. It's almost like they're trying to destroy us from within. I just don't get it. What's it going to take for change? Mid-table in League One, into the relegation zone, into League Two. I just don't get it. How far we got to fall before things start moving?
Yeah. At what point does the owner, because there's not a board, does the owner say, look, we want promotion and it's going the wrong direction. We need to make a change because we want promotion.
I'm not sure what his agenda is anymore. Who knows? Because we can't hear from him. Lee O'Neill seems to have gone underground as well. I know he had COVID, but he's better now. But you just hear... We don't hear anything. We had Dara on Thursday night. Transparency. We're hiding behind the curtains, aren't we? Having a little look out now and again. Is it safe to come out? That's all we are. And it's like I said on the radio yesterday, when Brenner said in the first half, it would be a great scalp if we beat Peterborough. Wow, how far we have fallen.
Yeah.
Afternoon, Brenner, by the way. We have fallen quite a long way. Let's bring in George. I think it's George, his name. I do apologise if it's not. Ipswich won. George, what did you think of yesterday's game? Where did it go wrong? Where did it go right?
Just after I've been a season ticket holder for 9 years now, I can't put up with this anymore. I used to look forward to going to Portman Road now. I feel it's more of a punishment on Saturdays. I get up and I just think, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I agree. Same. I was feeling the same yesterday. Yeah,
you used to be able to go to Portman Road. All right, we understand we're not going to win every game, but at least if they tried and put something out there and give it their all, and if we lost, okay, we put our hands up and say we got beaten, but there's just no passion there.
Lee O'Neill is very present currently. He has his Bluey costume on doing PE lessons for the kids. I mean, they can't even do that right. Why not nick an ex-pro or a current pro and just say, look, do a 10-minute thing for the kids? Like,
yeah, good idea.
It gets it more invested, doesn't it? It gets the kids more up for it. They wanted to follow it, but I don't know. Where do we go? Because on the pitch, if we keep it on the pitch for a second, George, as I mentioned at the start of the show, Peterborough have got all those assists, all those goals, and we've got absolutely now. Like, is Paul Lambert, to give him his credit, overachieving, as somebody said this morning on Facebook, with this squad?
The recruitment at Town's just so poor, you know. The players that we've got are just... No one else will have them. That's the reason that Ipswich get him, because no other club would take him.
It does always feel like that, Crunch, doesn't it? That, you know, we're a last sort of resort. And by the way, let's not get it let's not forget, we got beaten to a player by Lincoln City a week and a half ago. And a Manchester City young player went on loan to Lincoln, and we were in the running. And reports, if they're correct, said he chose Lincoln over Ipswich.
Well, that shows. I just think there's no respect, is there, from the owner towards the fans, because we see his comments a few weeks ago. There's no respect from the manager, because he seems, like you said before, he seems like he's running the show, Matt. He sort of comes out and says, I think now he's sort of basically saying, go on then, sack me. I don't care.
Well,
that seems to me, it's a don't care attitude. And
I
see
Pebbles put that on Twitter, didn't he? He said,
yeah, and I see people posting this morning, Matt, on Twitter about, oh yeah, but Lambert's had COVID. Yeah, he's been ill. If he's that ill, stay away, you know, until you're better, and then come back. Because
it's not that ill, because it's going on Celtic and doing all that.
Exactly.
Hang on,
Exactly.
Spot on.
Look,
He's very dour and monotone and doesn't give us anything as Ipswich Town fans. You get him on the subject of Celtic with the Scottish Daily Record or the Glasgow Times, don't stop bloody talking.
but that don't take a genius to work out why that is, though, Matthew.
Well, exactly
You
what we
know,
said this day, didn't we? At the drop of the hat, Ipswich would be dumped.
He's that bloke on the outside of a relationship that's trying to chip in on your missus, and every time you have an argument, he's there on the blower. You know how rubbish he is. How rubbish! I should leave him. He's like, oh yeah, I would do an amazing job. It's like, okay, man, you know, just sit down and worry about your own job at the moment, because at the moment,
Yeah, but any other job that you didn't perform in that, you'd be out straight away. I don't understand what is wrong with this owner at this club. You know, any other club would have got rid of him months ago.
Yeah. Exactly. What's it going to take? As we just said, what's it going to take?
I want to flag up what Hox has just said here, George, before I let you go. He says, lack of passion, stale, tactically inept, flat.
Yeah.
Do you think that accurately sums up the Lambert reign currently?
Well, the thing is, every club that he's been at, apart from Norwich, they've all put stories out wanting him out. So it shows you how crap of a manager he really is, you know?
It does. It does. George, we appreciate you. Craig was on yesterday. Craig, it's quite clear. It's quite clear the relationship between Paul Lambert and the press, the local press, is at an all-time low. It's probably fair to say, and that's the reason why Stuart Taylor's being thrown out there. Where do you stand on Jordan's comment there about tactically inept, stale? Is it tactically inept, or yesterday did we stifle a fast, free-flowing team and just get unlucky?
I think we did. We did stifle them, but I don't think Lambert's got a clue how to play attacking football. I think he's okay. Yeah, the possession-based football we play is good. I don't mind it, but sometimes you have got to get up the pitch quick, and that's something that we don't do. To be honest, I'd like to see us sit in a bit more and use the pace of Jackson and Thomas and actually counter teams rather than playing slow and then just they're sitting on the edge of their 18-yard box all the time. That's where I think he's tactically inept.
Yeah, Matt, do you think it's time we started planning for life without Caden Jackson? Though, do you think do you think the writing's on the wall and it's just a matter of when?
No, I don't see Caden Jackson going because we haven't got any depth to our strikers. So what are we going to gain from getting rid of him and replacing him with someone else? You still got no striker backup, have you? Snowwood, Jackson, and then two non-league strikers.
So what's happened?
The problem that you've got is all the strikers that we've got do not fit the system that we play. None of them fit the system.
Yeah. Because Jackson don't want to play up front on his own. Norwood probably does to some extent. But I agree. Certainly Drilling doesn't.
So what's happened then, Rich? Because if you've got no strikers, why is a fit one being semi-fit one, albeit being left out of an 18-man squad?
Well, getting back to Norwood, I think with him, guys, I don't think he's going to complete the season. He came. You remember when did he first get injured? When was he done his hamstring? Did he do it in training? Didn't he?
This season,
6 games in, wasn't it, or something like that?
I think it was in training. He done it, and then they said he's going to be out for 8 weeks, and I can't remember what game it was. And he came back after about 5. Then I think it was in the FA. Was it in the FA Cup game? He came on.
Yeah, Portsmouth.
Yeah, he scored in that, and then I think was it Charlton when he sort of done it when he sort of stretched over by the stand. So,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, he's come back way too early. If he's got a dodgy hamstring, and he's still got it now, with the amount of games coming up in the next 2 months, he's not going to be playing regular.
I agree. And the reason I asked which season, Rich, because he hasn't really played that much since he injured himself at Fleetwood. Remember the 1-0 win? And then we found out afterwards he was having that groin on, didn't he? And then he had another operation on it. It's not been the same. Maybe I'm being the same since then. For 12 months he hasn't, I don't think.
He's also 30, and once your hamstrings start going towards the later part of your career, that's it. They keep going until the day you retire. You know, when you're young, you can bounce back, you can recover from it. He's now pushing.
That makes us sound bloody ancient then.
Oh, I'm fucking ancient, mate. I'll show you the walking stick in a minute if you like. That'll please the lemons.
Team, though, wouldn't you be looking at the squad now thinking, we've got to get... If we want to get into the playoffs or challenge for automatic, we've got to get a striker in.
Yes, and we'll lead on to that in a second with Evans, but doesn't that come back down to the original, where's the money? Because Clark Harris cost £1.5 million. Like, players that will score over 10 goals in this division and give you a fighting chance of promotion will cost money. That's why we haven't got a striker, Matt, isn't it? Because ultimately the owner doesn't want to put that money in.
Yeah, I mean, we said on the show yesterday, it's just baffling to me that you've got Norwood and Jackson, and you're probably your two League One level strikers, and then you've got Drinnan and Hawkins as the backup, I've said this nearly on every show since the summer. We've got a Pompey cast-off in Hawkins. He ain't good enough for Pompey. He ain't good enough for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, well, he's out for 6 weeks now, so you probably won't even notice he's gone. Let's be honest. Craig, I appreciate it, but I've got to move on because I've got several people waiting. So absolutely appreciate it. See you Tuesday. Let's bring in Lewis Snow. First time of coming into the studio, if you like. Lewis,
look at new people I'm getting on. Lewis, I told you to come on, didn't I?
I know.
He's one of yours, is he?
It's no Richard.
Hi. Yeah, I'm all good, thanks. Just the whole club, with Lambert, I just don't get his whole philosophy and the way, like when you got bought in Thomas from Barnsley, you're thinking, why don't play him? And you think he's a fully fit player. He puts Judge on the wing again. You think, come on, Lambert, he's not going to do it, but like with two up front, it's just so frustrating. And then you got Taylor saying rotation. You think, last year that ruined us. That rotation.
I think to be fair, rotation. I think it's key though, Crunched, because we've got so many games in short amount of time that you're going to get a natural, rotation. I don't think he's talking about playing 2 sets of 11 every other week.
Mixing up the bench, I suppose.
One or two's all right, but you know what he's like. It's Lambert bingo, isn't it? 5 or 6 changes, and then you think, and then the goalie's out, and then it's all unravelling. I was going to message you this morning, Matt, to dig out that clip from when we done our season review, and Lambert was in there, and me and you said that this would happen. It was so obvious.
The leopard doesn't change his spots, we said.
Definitely not.
And you've seen it. You're seeing history repeated. The rotation is coming back. We're sliding down the table again under the same guy, using the same kind of system. It's all history repeated. That's why we always said it was inevitable Lambert would get the elbow. We just don't know what it's going to take to get the elbow at the moment.
Is it inevitable, though? Is it? We need ambition, Steve. Is it inevitable that Lambert gets the elbow this year? Because he's been backed in the window and Evans is still sitting wherever he's sitting with his head firmly buried in the sand, it appears.
I said this to Amy yesterday. I'm pretty sure I know where Evans is right now. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's not stupid. He's waiting till probably March time, probably early April, just before the early birds come out. He's going to bung him like that. Because he knows if he goes into the early birds with Carl Lambert on the help, season tickets will go boom. The only way he's going to get a boost, way he's going to get a boost for season tickets is to get rid of Lambert, get in a new man, and then he might get a boost, and that might cover some of the wages it's going to pay Lambert. That's the only way he's going to get out of it. Although any other way, he's going to lose.
I agree.
You know what?
Last year as well. That would have been the plan last year. I think I even put on Twitter at the time before we were doing the show. There's no way Lambert's going to front up a campaign for season tickets because no one's going to review. The same will happen again.
I had the exact same thought this morning. I thought, do you know what was likely to happen is Kieran Dyer is put in charge for the last 4 games of the season, right? And the last 4 games of the season are Northampton Town, Wimbledon, Swindon and Fleetwood. Now, no disrespect to those 4, but they should be
Winnable,
majority of wins, right? Kieran Dyer suddenly has a bit of momentum. He goes into the summer. Will he take charge? Will he fans will say he did okay towards the end of the campaign. Not, and then it plays into the Evans. Well, there you go, Kieran. There's the job. You've kind of earned it. I just see, and there's Dyer fronting the whole season ticket campaign. The young guns, Lancaster, El Mizani, sort of a, stick with us because we're building sort of campaign from Evans.
I'd go with that if there was a good director of football. Dyer, I like Dyer. I think he could do a job here, but I think he's too raw. He needs someone with management experience above him. Now, I was talking about this today. We've got a plethora of people who don't have to move very far. You've got George Burley who doesn't live far away, Mick Mills who doesn't live far away, Terry Butcher's doing the job at the club. There's plenty of people who could be in that role to give him a sounding board. Is this a good idea? What do you think with your experience? That's what we don't have now. We've got 2 people running a club who have no idea about football, and all the football decisions are made by one man. And he's crap.
Coming on that comment, Martin, that you just put up on the screen about Celtic, he's probably going to be in about as foul mood as Matt Phillips is after the McGregor fight this morning because Rafa Benitez is getting the job.
Sorry. Brilliant. Oh, dear.
Oh, look, he's like, Matt, have you lost your voice?
What's that?
Come back on it.
I'm just listening to you boys.
He's a McGregor fanboy, you see. He can't. He's not come to terms with the fact McGregor got beat yet.
Maybe grumpy.
Lewis, yesterday, Geno Donasian was man of the match for Fleetwood against Wigan.
Yep.
Do you read a lot into that, or do you say, do you know what, he played Wigan? Page me when he plays somebody good.
Yeah, I'm a bit on the fence with the Donasian situation. I know you're thinking he's gone to a League One rival, and you're thinking, are they? Yeah, because obviously with Joe Barton just leaving, haven't they? But it's just a strange situation that why are we letting someone go out on loan and then we're lacking numbers in that position? I know you can obviously maybe could you put Wolfton right back? You could.
Yeah, I think they probably will. They probably would.
A few years back, Reading away, won 4-0. Wolfton was playing right back that day. And then Spencer's playing the right wing back, so that's a bit strange.
He's not that. Yeah. The thing is with Donasian, we're all getting carried away. We think he's Cafu. Don't you find, guys, that players are always better when they're not in the team?
Yeah. Of course. And he played Wigan, and he's got a point to prove. So it's good for us, really, because they want him to go out on loan and play well, come back, have the year extended, and possibly sell him or put him in the team, don't they? Otherwise, they would have sold him to Plymouth. So, but I just think it's another stick for fans to beat the club with. And when you've got a square peg in a round hole, a la Chambers, a la Wolfenden, when you've got a right back, it just seems strange to have.
And they've moved him out to get Harrop in, haven't they? Because Harrop's 25.
Yeah, that worked out well.
But then Lambert said yesterday if they were to get another striker in, it'd have to be someone that's not in the salary cap. So what's that, under 21, under 23, something of that nature? Ain't going to add much, really, is it? Kid coming in from the Premier League.
Be better than Drinnen.
No, everyone's saying that Chambers is not a right back. Can we say this? He's played more right back than he has centre back. To be fair, he's a right back. He's not a centre back. And yesterday he gave away, what was it, 40? He gave away the ball 41 times.
Yeah, he was sloppy yesterday.
That is ridiculous. You were going to get destroyed. The reason we only lost 1-0 and they didn't have a shot on target, because Peterborough didn't play well. If they'd have turned up, they didn't play well. No, I'm serious. If they
didn't turn up, or we actually tactically I mean, this is where I do get a little bit stuck with fans, because we slam Lambert, we say we're not tactically good, and then we say the other team didn't turn up. Like we were tactically good yesterday. Tactically, we were good.
I think I said Thursday night to you, Martin, on the pod about stay in the game. yesterday. If it's 0-0 at half time, fair enough. If it's 0-0 after 60 minutes, fair enough. And I know I said on the radio, that does show how far we've fallen when we're happy that we're 0-0 at half time against Peterborough. But yesterday, we got it right to that stage, but that was the time to make them changes. Drinnen, it wasn't working. Get Thomas on. 30, 25 minutes to go, get them on, and you can go and win that game. We could have won that game yesterday if we'd have made them changes at the right time, but we seem always to be reactive and not proactive when it comes to changes. And we made the changes too late when 1-0 down.
You could see watching that game, we did well first half, second half, we started off all right, but then from about 50 minutes onwards, they got in the groove. And you could always see a goal coming from there on.
No, they didn't create anything.
They did. No, the passing got better. I'm not saying they created anything.
It was a poor game all round.
It was, but it was going to come. But I'm not saying that Peterborough played well. They didn't. They can play better than that.
They just had better quality in the right areas. They haven't got.
I know, but what I'm saying is it's like we're being dragged down to the level where we have to turn around and say, "Well, we did well against." I don't want to say I do well against Peterborough. I want to turn around and say we smashed Peterborough because that's where we should be. Stop. Will Evans and Lambert, stop trying to lower fans' expectations to the point where we're delighted to be a mid-table team. I don't want to be in the League One. I don't want to be a mid-table team in League One. I want to be higher than that. And it's all about ambition. What is his ambition? Is his ambition to be here? Then tell us. Then we can all piss off and follow somebody else.
All right, we appreciate you both. I'm going to make a double change. I'm going to bring in Blakey, who we've not had on before, I don't think, although we may have done, and the fisherman, Mike Brown. Yeah. Ambition is what was just called for. Where are we going? What are we doing? Let's discuss Evans and the poster from Blue Action. Good move. Just another poster that's not effective. Where do we stand on this one?
Go first, Mike.
Do you know what? I just don't know what to say.
He's speechless.
I am. Normally I've got so much to say. I just don't know what to say. I just, yeah. The poster, yeah, great, lovely. But is it going to change anything?
Well, this is it. Is it just another move, Matt, without an actual plan? Like, what's the roadmap of Blue Monday? What do they see?
Blue Monday?
Blue Action.
Blue Action, sorry. Blue Monday. Blue Action.
Your age, yeah.
I am showing my...
That's not a very good podcast, by the way.
Some weeks. But don't... Hey.
Afternoon, Joe.
That's the good weeks. So, Matt, back to you. What is the roadmap of Blue Action?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, you keep saying this, don't you? They suddenly sort of appear out of nowhere, which I suppose this element of surprise that they do something and it goes viral, at least for the Ipswich Town fans, anyway, on Twitter and Instagram. Right? And it's good. It's creative. Really good poster, I thought. Great that it's on the gates at Portman Road, so that's really good. Kind of operate under this cover of darkness, don't they? We don't really know who they are and all that kind of thing. They don't want to be on the show. We can invite them on the show. They don't want to be on the show. So they're just making statements, aren't they? They're making these statements that fans will share, which is good. But yeah, whether or not it's going to... I mean, Darren said to us on Thursday, he would never make a decision on sacking a manager over what the fans say. It would be down to his relationship with that said manager. But it's good for us. It's good that it keeps the conversation rolling and it's giving the fans a voice and they can see something visual whilst we're not in the stadium.
What more do you think they should do then, Martin?
Well, my issue is we don't know when it's coming. We don't know what it is. There's nothing to get behind. It's a good move. I'm not criticising when they do the move. It's just, okay, we've done that. The club will pull it down. We've all shared it on social media. It's on the top right-hand corner of my page. What's next? Or is it another sit back, wait another 3, 4, 5 games for the inevitable to happen, and then we go again? Like, at what point?
We're in the middle of a pandemic. They can't. There's nothing more they can do. We can't go to the stadiums. We can't protest. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, not everyone might agree with it, but
no, I agree.
There. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. It's everywhere. But I don't think we should come on here and criticise and say, what are we doing next? Because we can't get to the stadium. If there was a crowd there yesterday, for the majority of them home games, they would be getting absolute pelters. This is where the local media have to step in. This is why 2 weeks ago I called out Stuart Watson and I got pelters on it from certain people on social media. This is where the local media. Another look today. I don't know if we've all seen it. Stuart he's put a really good piece out.
That's really good.
Look,
yeah.
Do you know what really I was annoyed really with yesterday? I listened to your rant on Radio Suffolk. Brilliant, Rich. Loved it. Right. Was the interview with Lambert.
Frank was good, wasn't he, Mike?
Don't even get me started on that clown. Oh, don't. Come on, here, Frank. No, I'm sorry, but that wound me up after listening to the verbal diarrhea there. Who is the bloke who interviewed Lambert?
Brennan Woolley.
Is he kissing his ass?
Easy. He's got a job to do. He's part of the BBC. He's part of the BBC. You are never going to get a BBC employee to be anything but 100% down the middle.
No, you can't. That's one down the middle, right? That was more left than Labour. Right? No disrespect, right? But he's there to do a job. You know, us fans are the ones every week sitting there having to deal with this rubbish, and we got Brennan Woolley sitting there kissing Lambert's ass. I'm sorry, but he should be asking tougher questions than that, and he's not.
To be fair,
you know what? I've completely lost it with Radio Suffolk. I'm fed up of hearing the commentary, saying how well we're playing when I'm watching it and thinking I'm struggling to stay awake.
What does Blakey think?
Yeah, come on, Blake.
Today wasn't the worst game we've had, and that's you know, it's been that bad previously. So I almost feel like some of these commentators are sort of talking about that particular game. They don't look at the bigger picture. They don't look at the last 6 games, how bad it's been. They look at that individual game and say, well, actually, that game, yes, we lost because a fluke goal. They forget the fact that we gave away a penalty and was missed. That was luck again. So we actually do get some luck. We don't take our chances. We don't look at it and go, look. I was looking at that, and I think I put 6-1 loss yesterday on your predictions.
You did.
I did, yeah.
Sorry.
And I was watching the first half, and I was thinking, I can't. You know, we're cancelling each other out. Nothing's really happening. I thought we defended a lot better yesterday, apart from the obvious mistakes. But we had nothing going forward. You know, that game was crying out with a bit of pace. Someone on the wing. We just signed someone to do that and then put them on the bench. And I agree with Crunch. Like, we needed to make that change. About 55 minutes, 60 minutes. I was looking at it going, we need to make that change now.
We could have won the game, couldn't we, Blakey? We could have won the game if we made them changes.
I don't agree.
We could have definitely been more attacking. I think we'd have had more chances. And, you know, you've only got to make one of them connect and score. But what I was getting at was the goal. Sorry, I've completely lost my track now. I'll have to come back to me because I completely forgot where I was going now.
Well, you're right, Blake, because we only had one shot on target. I mean, you're doing well to win a game, aren't you? If you've only had one shot on target.
They had none there. They had 0 on the game.
Our players, when we conceded the penalty and they missed, right? That should have been a massive lift. You see that in games. You see it in games. You think, geez, we've just been let off. Let's go for it, and we didn't. And I think that you've got to look at it. Luck's on our side this time. Let's do something. Let's be proactive. Let's make some changes. Let's go for it. Let's literally attack them. And yes, it might have left us a little bit open at the back. We know our wing backs, not even wing backs, but they play like wing backs. They're not good at getting forward and getting back. They're 35. Like we shouldn't be expecting that off them. And that's where I just think Lambert's setting us up in a formation, but it doesn't have the personnel for that formation. So it doesn't make any sense.
What does he have the personnel for then? Because I keep hearing 4-4-2, and if you want a 4-4-2, you won't play Andre Dozell in a 4-4-2 because he's not good.
I wouldn't play him anyway. I'm sick of hearing about Andre Dozell. Honestly, his passes yesterday were shocking.
The midfield yesterday, I've always looked at Dozell and thought, would he be playing better in a Premier League team where he's got a bit of space and he's got the players around him? I didn't say he does. I always thought.
No, I know.
But yesterday, out of the midfielders, his out of all of the midfielders, maybe Judge, not including Judge, I'm talking the middle ones that were playing yesterday. He would be the one. He'd be the one I would have had out yesterday.
Which is amazing turnaround, because 3 weeks ago me and the Milk Tray Man called them the Untouchables, because if you mentioned Andre's name, it was fierce protection from the Town fans. So it's interesting to see that sort of change coming about, because
he's had a chance. That's the thing. You know, I can't look at a player like Giselle and see him come on for half an hour a game, or play a game, go out for 3, come on for a game, and then go, oh, he hadn't done enough. I get that. But when you've had a run of 7, 8 games and you haven't done enough, you've had your chance. It's the same as Donasian, right? He hasn't had a run of games. So I don't feel like I could ever say he's better than Chambers, not better than Chambers. He's done some good things, not some good things. But he needs a run of games. And I just feel like we've got no spine to our team. Like
no jellyfish.
You know, you want at least your 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and strikers that you have, and then you can interchange players around them. But it's the spine's the bit that's broken, if that makes sense. They're the players that play every week are the ones that need to be replaced, but they're not, because one, we don't look at replacing them. whether we even look to replace them, I don't know. Like Chambers, we should be looking at a right back, but we're not.
As Amy Person would say, we've got the spine of a great supine protoplasmic invertebrate jelly. 3 points to anyone knows who said that. Blakey, we appreciate you. I'm going to bring in Coxie because I want to talk about Chambers. Blakey, thanks ever so much, mate. Chambers' interview yesterday, as Blakey's brought it onto Chambers. Where do we stand on that one? Because for me, he needs to keep his lips... do you know what? How do I say this? I'll let you 3 have a say. 4 have a say first. What do you think about Chambers' interview?
Does he really need to keep his mouth shut? Is it good that a player's actually coming out and saying this is not good enough for this club?
I agree. It contradicted what Lambert said in his interview.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is disgusting.
I mean, Mike on Twitter virtually wrote that. He said exactly what Lambert would say after that game yesterday, and he never did it. It's the usual crap. Oh yeah, I thought we'd done well, and all that rubbish. Yeah.
My issue is this is your second in command. This is the general of the troops, and he's coming out and he's publicly, in my opinion, undermining Lambert by saying
the manager said.
No, not brilliant, because this is a captain that has been the alpha. No.
Brilliant.
This is a captain that's been the alpha male in a dressing room that quit on relegation, that got one manager out because they more or less down tools.
Your mate Bart, he quit on relegation as well, Martin.
Yeah, but he's not in October that season, Martin.
But he's not the alpha male. Yesterday he was described as the alpha male of the club. Well,
who described that?
Somebody on the show said he was he's the captain, but this is a captain who has resided over he is
captain.
The captain.
You don't see him on the pitch, do you?
This is what I'm talking about.
What about his performance yesterday? What about his performance? He was awful, especially in the first half.
He said that on the show yesterday.
People, right? Okay, let's just keep it calm, because I thought I could see everybody getting heated here, even you, Martin, which is unusual.
Not a Chambers fan, never have been, and yesterday I totally again enforced that.
I totally get that, but isn't it? Will he get the same treatment as Wolfie? Because Wolfie came out, and sort of said something similar. But is Chambers going to get? Yeah, you're right. Is Chambers going to get the same cold shoulder? That player shouldn't even be in this squad, right?
No.
Right, I know Donasian is not Cafu, Rich, but no disrespects, he's a lot better than Chambers.
He's a better player. Like I said, Mike, players are always better when they're not in the team. He isn't rated by the manager. That's why we can all sit on here and say he should be in the team. Yeah. He don't fancy him. So fair play to him. He wants to play football. Yeah, he's gone to Fleetwood. We need to get over it. We can't keep saying he should be playing.
But but these are the reasons why we want Lambert out, not just because of the crap setup and the way that we are playing as a team. We got players. We said this last week about Giselle being a holding. He can't play that role. And it was, again yesterday, another shambolic passing performance by Dazelle.
Yeah.
One quality pass in the whole game doesn't make you a quality player. He's
What about
better
Downs as
further
well?
forward.
What about Downs as well? No one said about him. He had a poor
No,
game as well.
absolutely. Absolutely.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Did you see?
Great.
Did you see Schemodics in that game at all?
He was quiet.
No,
Because Downs had him in the back pocket. He did not allow the player space.
Downs, then? Matt got a load of stick.
He's a
earlier in-
firefighter. He's a firefighter.
We-
He will go around the pitch and he will fight fires in the midfield that allows Dozell, presumably. The issue is, and let's bring it back to Chambers, he plays because he's the captain. And yesterday he put Paul Lambert, from my opinion, put Paul Lambert in a real tough situation. Because if you drop your captain, you send a message. But equally, he has that dressing room because he's the captain for a reason. He has the dressing room in the palm of his hand. That's why you keep your... But that's why you keep your captain...
Look what happened under the last manager. I said before, when we got relegated, they're stinking the place out. That old guard all needed to be wiped out. And we're 2 seasons down the line, and we're no further forward than we were when we got relegated. They should have gone, Chambers. He's been a good servant. Move on.
Yeah, but it struck me yesterday as if this was the political world, Matt, this is almost a government minister coming out and publicly saying he disagreed with the Prime Minister, just to like sort of survival mode, if you like. You know, while this is all absolute crap, it's not me.
Yeah, I don't know how that interview came around. I know Andy interviewed him. Whether or not it was put up for the entire media pack of however that looks at the moment at Fulham Road, I don't know. But yeah, it was really at odds with what Lambert had said. And normally in-house, you'd manage that as a press person. Right, Luke, the manager said X, Y, and Z. He wants to stay on that agenda, but it was completely off the agenda.
He knows what the manager said. He knows Paul Lambert will come out and say, it was okay, it was impressive. That was the bit that got me, the bit where he said, you know, we can all come out here and say it's this, that, and the other, and that's a load of rubbish. I thought that was...
He's throwing the manager under the bus. Totally. He's looking up.
Someone needs to. I know.
I appreciate you. I'm going to bring in Dan because Dan's a manager of Claydon and been a manager. He knows what it's like to have a captain. And how would you have reacted yesterday, Dan, if your captain had come out 20 seconds after you had come out and completely sort of thrown you under the bus, as Cruncher says?
I mean, it's something that needs to be said. I mean, Wolfie tried it the week before, and obviously he's not played in since he said that comment. I personally don't think he'll play on Tuesday, Luke Chambers, after his performance and his comments. And I think that won't be Paul Lambert that will tell him. I think Marcus Evans will tell Lambert not to play him. I personally think Marcus Evans... I mean, I'd love to be in the job still and getting paid so much money and losing games if Marcus Evans is not getting rid of him. It's Marcus Evans that needs to get rid of Paul Lambert. It's not Paul Lambert's not going to walk away. He's got a contract, and Marcus Evans is the person that needs to get rid of Paul Lambert. Paul Lambert's not going to walk away unless another job comes up. That's how I feel about it. Paul Lambert's been given. Yeah, Paul Lambert's been given what he's been given. The players, obviously, obviously the 2 players he brought in are quality. But the other day that I saw someone put out that I think it's Simpson, the striker. Where is he? Like, he's been training in Staymarket. You see him running around in Staymarket up Cedars Park. He's running around and people take the photos and asking why he's not playing. I think you need a powerhouse up front.
Because he ain't good enough.
Yeah, I don't think he's good enough, that kid. Not yet, anyway.
He's no worse than Drennan.
I don't know.
Who keeps giving... What is... Go on, Dan.
I personally think that, Lambert is not doing the correct job at the moment, but it's what Marcus Evans has given him. How do we know that Paul Lambert's not gone to Marcus Evans and said, look, we need this player, we need a striker, we need a right back, we need another centre back, and Marcus Evans just turned around and said, no, sorry, deal what you've got.
This is it, and this is something that as fans you
could
just
put
just signed 2
one at a time.
You could put Lambert in
one at
Barcelona.
One at a time.
Oh, Mike. Not a bad idea.
Go on, Mike, say it again.
Yeah, Luke.
There. What were you going to say, Rich?
saying about what he's been given, but he has just signed 2 players. We've signed a number 10 who we didn't really need because we've got 2 people who can play that position. Now we've signed another one.
But remember as well, you've got to remember that 2 weeks ago everyone was jumping on Alan Judge's back. No one's.
You could put Lambert as a manager of Barcelona, he'd struggle.
I disagree. I think I think Dan's correct in what he says. I think we are giving our manager a water pistol for a gunfight. He wanted Clark Harris. It's quite clear. He ended up with Ollie Hawkins, this is not.
Then, Martin, if he's not happy with the job, and he's not happy
nobody's going to walk away. Look, if Mick McCarthy didn't walk away, then nobody else is going to walk away from a job. And why would you?
Martin said yesterday, you don't walk away from money. Who, in their right mind, would walk away from at least another 4 years on the contract?
Have a bit of self-respect and walk away with your head held high.
As well.
When money lies on the dice crunch.
Yeah, but you've got to remember as well. This day and age,
10 mil.
At the moment, with this pandemic going on, look at the new sign for Ipswich that's just come in, and he's got COVID. Then you're gonna no club is going to get rid of the managers just yet, and obviously you look at Cardiff and been quite lucky because Mick McCarthy's obviously been COVID tested loads of times before he's come back to the country, so they know that he's okay to the end of the season. But Lambert's in there until. He's not going to walk away with the money he's getting. He's not going to walk away.
No, and this is not the first manager, guys, that's been given not a lot to work with. McCarthy made chicken salad out of chicken shit. Let's be honest. Joel was given little resources. This is not the only time. So at what point? And this is where Blue Action's obviously shameful comes in, and the banner and the headlines there. But what do we want really? Because do we trust Marcus Evans to make a change? Like, he's made so many changes in the last 13 years that have just resulted in one bad mistake after another bad mistake. My wife wants some DIY doing. My first response to her yesterday was, we'll phone somebody who knows what they're doing. Because I hadn't got a clue about DIY and I couldn't do it physically if I was well. Dan's a football manager. He might not be a pastry chef, so if his wife wants him to make sausage rolls, he might say, well, that's not my bag. Marcus Evans is not a footballing man, so why is he making footballing decisions 13 years on?
Because he needs a director of football. You said it the other night with
why is he so reluctant, and why is nobody asked who can ask? Marcus, you've compounded one bad mistake after another bad mistake. At what point do you decide maybe it's best you sort of take a back step?
It's one of the reasons, Martin, why we said bring back someone like a Derek Bowden into that kind of CEO role, so he actually oversees that, and Evans is the overarching chairman of it all and providing the funds, but Derek's more there on the day-to-day and working with whoever it would be, a director of football or whatever, to make those footballing decisions. It's very interesting, isn't it, when we spoke to Darryl Thursday, that he was actually scouting his own players. He wanted to team up Caden Jackson with Ivan Toney. You ain't never going to hear Marcus Evans say that, are you?
But what a sounding board Barry Fry must be. Like, Barry, I've seen this player on the TV. His name's so-and-so. What do you think? I'll have a look. I've been watching him myself.
But Barry Fry's a football man. He's been in football for so long. He knows that Marcus Evans is just a businessman that takes the money but knows nothing about football, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously, he's relied on so many managers to do a job for him. I hate it. I'll be honest with you. I want to see Ipswich do well. I'd love to see Ipswich do well. I follow Ipswich, and obviously I live in Ipswich, but I just don't see Ipswich moving out of this League One for another 10 years. Because if there's no change at the top, then there's not going to be we're just going to have to deal with players that we can get in on a free, on an end of the year. Because let's be honest, how many players have we actually signed that's not free or alone? How many players have we brought in?
This is it.
Good point. Isn't it 17 players out of contract in the summer, Martin? Is it 17 or something?
It is 17 players, yes. Transition, regardless of what division we're in, as I've been saying. But I think Dan's right. I think Cox said it before him. So as fans, as Blue Action, etc., do we actually want to push not for the change of manager, but for the change of leadership at the top? Marcus, you are our owner, and we respect that, and you're probably not going to go anywhere despite what we all want. So instead, we're going to press you to try and put some leadership in place that's better for the football club. We value your input, we value your money, first and foremost, but you want to surely you want to get a return on that investment, doesn't he? Or is he happy just to sort of play dream team? Is that what he's doing with our football club? Is he really playing the Suns' dream team, but in real life? Is he living out his fantasy?
He's a businessman. He must want some sort of return. You know, he's made millions.
The trouble is, the thing is, we don't hear from Evans, so we don't know what he's thinking.
Exactly. So had he been a more eccentric owner, do you feel he'd have got a lot more bad press? Because we've read he's more involved, he's more doing this, he does that. Like, you know, certain owners, Vincent Tan, I think being one of them, because they're quite an eccentric character and they're quite in the press are more on them. They're more looking at them, they're more judging them. Because Marcus is underground, if you like, he's getting away with all these different things that I don't think normal media would say is acceptable as an owner. Why are you more involved in footballing decisions? Surely that's your manager's decision to have a style of play.
Who's going to ask him them questions then that we want asking?
I'd love to ask him. I'll give me half an hour with the man. I'd love to sit down with him. I'd love to sit down and just say, Marcus, me and you, half an hour, cameras on, no script. Let's have a little conversation about football.
There you go. You hit the nail on the head there. No script, because every time he's done an interview, it's all pre-planned.
Yeah. Which generally just the first person piece he's written, isn't it? In the programme, whatever it's going to be.
The only way that this club is going to go forward is if he invests money into the players, and you know, he actually buys the players that Lambert wants, or whoever comes in. You know, you've got to spend £500,000 on a player if you want to go up. You can't deal with loanees and end of season. You have to buy. You know, that bloke that went to Peterborough probably would have done great business for us this season if he would have signed for Ipswich Town, because he's a sort of money he needs to invest in. Now, come 2 years down the line, when a club like Aston Villa are in the Premiership, you end up selling with about 5-6 million, because he's that quality of player that you've invested £500,000 in, that you probably get a return 2 years, 3 years down the line.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense, but you know, no one's going to invest in a Mark McGuinness on loan from Arsenal, where he's just going to go out on loan again next season to a Championship team. So there's no investment coming into the club. There's no, you know, you've got no money. I'd love to see players come into the club and you know, being top of the league, but that's not going to happen with the players that we have at the moment.
There's no recruitment, Dan. You mean if you watched the interview the other night when D-Mac asked Crunch and Matt, you know, who does your recruitment? And they said, we don't. And it could have been you and I on there, Dan. We were answering the same thing. We haven't got a clue. It's probably the canteen staff at bloody Playford Road.
That's what I said, Cockney. You know, Peterborough signing players like Ivan Toney, Smodix, Jack Taylor, players who they can improve, then they can sell on. We're getting cast-offs from Portsmouth. Now, all of us on here, if Ollie Hawkins was any good, would they be giving him to a promotion rival? No, they wouldn't.
Of course not.
They didn't give him to us. They didn't renew his contract. They didn't give him to us. They didn't renew his contract. They decided that he wasn't a player worth investing in. Chris Blake, if you don't want to be on the camera or face the club, then you need a director of football. It's simple as that. Dan and Coxie, we appreciate you. I'm going to pause there. I'm going to move on to our goats. Matt and Luke, if you don't mind staying where you are, I will bring you in for the Sunderland preview. Can I get a nod if that's okay? Perfect. Right. Dan, Coxie, we love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you Tuesday. On to the... The Crunching Tackle in association with Networking 90. Matthew Phillips, did you know? Crunching Tackle, but did you know, first of all, that 72% of people say their impressions are impacted by how someone appears and their handshake? Did you know that?
No, I did not know this. First impressions, you see.
Yeah, and that's the importance of networking, you see, if you own your own business. It's all about impressions, and maybe that's where Marcus goes wrong, because the impression is all wrong.
Exactly. We didn't know what he looked like for about 7 or 8 years, and he's only ever done one interview for the club in about 12 years, so it's weird.
It's about handshakes.
Did someone say in the comments there, mine, that he was camera shot? Casanova something.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah.
What made me laugh yesterday about handshakes? They're all fist pumping, right? You know, fist pumping, and then Downs and somebody have a great big hug, and you think, well, What's the bloody point? It's like, come on. Anyway, crunching tackle. Let's have some light-hearted stuff before we get onto the Sunderland preview, which will be probably quite heavy.
I don't know if anyone's seen it. In the week, it was Cheltenham took on Newport at the Johnny Rock Stadium, Matt. What a name for a stadium.
It's good. I like that. It's good.
They played Man City as well, yes, didn't they, Cheltenham? A bit unlucky. Nearly caused a massive upset. So, I don't know if you got the footage there, Martin, of...
I certainly have.
Tom King was the Newport goalkeeper.
He was.
Is it coming?
Yep. Have it large. How? Oh. Dodgy keeping, though, isn't it?
What would you do there, Matt? If you were the keeper and you scored, I'd be off. Knee sliding or something. Or
I'd probably gone to the dugouts, done a little knee slide or something.
Nah, I tell you what, goalkeepers, they've got this respect for each other. He has scored more goals than Drennan. He has, you're right. But they've got this respect for each other, the goalkeepers union, and that's why they don't tend to celebrate that way, because you are, as a fellow professional, a little bit embarrassed for the guy who's just been beaten by a goal that's now in the Guinness World Records. Isn't that right, Crunch?
Yeah, so, Tom King was a Newport goalkeeper, and he has beaten the record, was Azimir Begovic, obviously from Town. Had him on loan from Pompey.
Yeah, and he was
scored in the Premier League in 2013 against Southampton. I think that was after about 2 minutes. 100.5 yards, but Tom King's was recorded at 105 yards. So,
wow,
fair play to him.
Don't you hate it when we're chasing a game, they stick Holy up in the box like they did yesterday? It's just embarrassing, isn't it? Stick the big fella up top who's the keeper.
And then put it nowhere near him.
What other goalkeepers do you remember scoring, Matt?
Jimmy Glass.
Jimmy Glass that's probably the best one, isn't it? Last minute for Carlisle.
The Carlisle one. I don't know who the first keeper was to score. Maybe Pat Jennings scored.
Yeah, Pat Jennings scored, didn't he? I know. Did you know Paul Robinson used to play for England? Scored 2 goals. So he scored for Spurs.
Mark Poom.
Yeah, I think Spurs against Watford. It might. I'm not sure it was in the Premier League, but he also scored for Leeds United a last-minute header against Swindon in the League Cup.
There used to be a Paraguay keeper called, I think it's Luis Chilavert.
Rene Higuita.
Higuita. Yeah, but Chilavert used to take Paraguay's free kicks. He used to code it in beautifully.
Chilavert.
Yeah, that's the fella. Paraguay.
I remember Higuita. We all remember Higuita. He used to have a little dribble up the pitch, didn't he? Long hair, dribble up the pitch, scorpion kick. Goalkeepers are mental, aren't they? They're mental goalkeepers. Not wide, right?
You've got to be to put your face in the middle of boots normally.
Well, our goalkeeper don't, did he? That one yesterday that went past. Ooh.
Dracula. Right, my crunching tackle is Suffolk Mind. 100 miles in January. We are absolutely smashing it, and I mean smashing it. Cruncher alone has done like 1 million miles. He's started calling them one of the proclaimers, I think. Wow. Graham Brooks is smashing it. Chris Peach on Twitter, he is absolutely smashing it as well. Me and Matt, we're kind of sort of dawdling along, but we're getting there slowly.
I'm on 90 miles.
You're on 90 miles. Yeah. So if you better get walking, girl. We're flagging. We've got a week left. So let's, if we can, get more get active. If you've not yet taken part, there is still plenty of time to do a few miles. And I'm just going to drop the Just Giving page for Suffolk Mind in the chat. So whether you are doing it or not doing it, maybe £1 or £2 to them, just to keep their services going, will be worthwhile. Right, Matt, on to your Media Mogul story. In association with Networking 90.
Look at that. Such an expert on your little voiceovers. Love it. Well, I mean, if you started watching these shows when we first began them, what was it, sort of May time, May 2020, we were bigging up Hummel, weren't we? Hummel.
The kit maker.
Yeah, and they were back in the news again this week because they're going to re-partner with Southampton, where they had that famous two-tone red and sort of pinkish, so it's a Danish company, very Denmark-looking kit. So that got me just searching through Twitter on some timelines and things, people talking about kits. We came across Club America. We're playing the Mexican Primera League, I think it's called, the Mexican top flight. And they released their third strip this week, and it was their goalkeeper, Memo Ochoa. He kind of modelled it. So, Martin, have you got the keeper one?
We have, but I have to do a warning to anybody with a nervous disposition because it's frightening.
Look at that. Now, that's actually based on his old goalkeepers, Tom, the fans loved. So they brought it in as their now new third strip. And that's it's kind of a tribute to the sculptures of Aztec heritage. So that's the first one. There's Memo, 110 appearances for Mexico. Now, another guy who modelled that kit, Martin, you can go to picture number 2.
Yeah, it's coming.
You may recognise this guy. There he is. Look, it's Giovanni Dos Santos.
Best loan signing ever.
Now we've got Aaron drilling up top. Once upon a time, we had Dos Santos scoring goals in the East Anglian derby. So there he is. So this then got me thinking. It's quite a loud-looking shirt there. It's got me thinking about other
shirts.
Have been quite famous. Martin, do we have our third shirt, the prawns one?
Oh my God, this will make you sick. This will. Jesus.
So this is. Let me explain it if you're listening on Spotify or whatever. This is from Loja CD, Club Deportivo Loja in Andalusia. They teamed up with a local supermarket, and there you go. They decided to put some prawns on the front of their shirt, and this takes me to the next one. Our last one, Martin. Look at this. It's a bag of peas. La Jolla Lorca from Murcia, which is in southeast Spain. Don't know actually why they teamed up with another supermarket, presumably. So they had pea green, and they've got peas on the front of their shirt. That made me think it must be very difficult to put a hooligan ultra group together for La Jolla Lorca because you're walking around as vegetables. I think that would be a very difficult look to try and intimidate the opposition. But there you go. So maybe be thankful for small mercies with the Adidas trip, but I'd like to see us back in Hummel. I'd like to see us take on Hummel and have a reboot the Ipswich look, maybe.
There's a little idea there, Matt. You know what we could have next season on your away kit? Green shoots. Green shoots. Yeah.
Although if you
bullshit on there, I don't know.
if you could have a kit, design it yourself, like so something that's worthwhile to you, maybe. What would you put on it? What would you have on that shirt?
What, with a bit of Suffolk heritage on there or something?
What's that, fisherman?
Lambert out.
Silhouette of Sir Bobby or something in throughout. I don't know. I would like to see us. I mean, we've got a team wearing the UAE. I mean, only typical Ipswich, isn't it? We're in all blue this season as a homage to the 81 team, and we can't even get into the top 6 of League One. It's just a bit of a mistake, isn't it? But yeah, Steve from who's on our Tuesday shows, he put on you remember the red band and the French-looking kit.
Radio Orwell.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing if we went with someone like Hummel, I'd like to see him reboot that in some kind of style.
Asparagus tip, Mark Bliss.
Is that tip? Is that tips?
Tips, yeah.
Thanks, man.
Big up Callie in the chat. You keep doing you, Callie. Right, Sunderland preview. Our guest isn't in the VIP room, so I don't know if I will try and chase that up, but I'll bring in the fisherman, Matt Wingard and Luke. Sunderland in a matter of days. I will be back on the matchday ticket with Steve and Neil, Mr. Positivity. How do we see this one going? I'm just going to drop out. Matt, you're in charge.
Okay. So here we go then, boys. So Tuesday, on the back of the loss. What do you reckon, Luke? Tell us what's going to happen against Sunderland. What are you thinking?
I'm not expecting much, I'll be honest.
Join the club.
I've always found it's better to be pessimistic than be optimistic and be surprised.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed then, yeah.
That's why he's a Town fan.
But no, I think the team's good enough to win, but I don't think they will with Lambert in charge.
Yeah. And Charlie White, of course, Matt, is scoring goals for Sunderland. He got a hat-trick against Wimbledon. I think he got the winner against Shrewsbury yesterday. How are we going to cope with him, eh? How's Toto going to cope with Charlie White, I wonder?
Well, definitely be a penalty, won't there, if Toto's still
Yes, 4 now, isn't it? I'm counting the Sunderland one up at the Stadium of Light as Toto's fault as well.
Well, he'll do, definitely, I'll say. The game straight away, it's on Sky, isn't it? So we're done straight away.
Of course, yeah. The curse of Sky.
Yeah, it's not going to be much change, I don't think, to the last 5-6 home games we've played. It's 2-0, 3-0.
We might still be shit, but we got Norwich fans. Look,
I know.
Hey.
In here, look, in here. They've only got one thought in their mind, and it's Ipswich. Always Ipswich.
They're light years ahead of us, and we're always on their minds, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah. Will Thomas start on Tuesday, Matt?
I think he's got to. I mean, why didn't start yesterday? We've already questioned that. I just can't see. You sign someone, you want a little bit of different sort of aspect or look at the team, and he'd have been ideal when we come on and look.
I agree.
When he had the ball, but he's got to start. He's got to start.
In place of who, though?
Judge.
Mike?
I would say, I mean, even looking for...
Oh, sorry. We are. I'll bring you back in a second. Matt.
I'm going to ask Mike a question here, and Luke. So you're Lambert. You got Drennan on one hand, could start him. No, and he couldn't even score for Sutton. Never scored for Town. You got Sears on the bench. Made his name as a centre forward. Was signed by McCarthy as a centre forward. Scored 60 goals as a centre forward. But you go with the guy who hasn't scored any to start the game against promotion rivals. Where's the logic? Lambert logic. What do you think, Mike?
Do you know what? That was the first thing I saw yesterday. When I see Drennan and then I see Sears on the bench, I'm like, that makes sense. I can't see no logic in any of what Lambert does. That's the problem. I mean, we could all sit there and moan about players not playing. I mean, you know, like I said, I had a moan about Giselle earlier, but I think if he played further forward, he'd feel probably a little bit more comfortable. I just cannot see what Lambert brings to the table other than I played for a big club. I mean, that's all, you know. How can you say yesterday was great? The first
always goes
half,
back to Lambert with you, Mike. Always goes
That's
back to
every fucking time. It's always Lambert. Lambert. It's snowing. Bloody Lambert's fault, that, isn't it?
But hang on. Yeah. Where's your poster, Martin? Have you got it? I'm sure we've got video footage of you really supporting this guy. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's
just baffling, isn't it? Because Lambert even said in his interview yesterday. He said in his interview yesterday, Drennan's one of those kind of strikers that's going to have to work really hard for his goals, which basically tells you he's not.
He's shit.
That
is. Yeah. So what about the young lads at the under 23s then? I would rather. Well done, Luke. Brilliant.
Luke. It's always the quiet ones, isn't it? Always the quiet one.
He has dropped a bomb there.
Brilliant.
He's actually quite good in football manager. I will say that, though, in his defence, he's quite good in football manager. So,
put me on football manager. I'm world class.
But I don't get why he's not starting. I don't think Sears is good enough either for us anymore. But I would rather have Sears over Drennan.
Yeah, he's must, right? I mean, Freddie's the victim of McCarthy moving him all over the place.
Yeah.
And all that kind of thing. And then his confidence nosedive. I mean, how much his confidence be now? We're going to give Drennan with no goal 75 minutes. What do you go, Freddie? You've got 15 minutes to try and save the game.
The problem is, though, our best striker is Norwood, and that says a lot. He's the best. And I think he's back to the bad bench. What says a lot about our striking options at the moment. Have our strikers actually got any goals at the moment?
Well, and this is the issue, isn't it? You know, when you look at the top goal scorer list, you look at the assists. We are worse than a water pistol. We've got nothing, absolutely nothing.
First half yesterday in the game, we were 0-0, and that was great. I actually sat there and I thought, do you know what, 0-0, I'll take that at the moment, because but it was always that bit of doubt, like, oh my God, we're going to concede in a minute, or if they hit us on the break, we're going to be in trouble. And then, of course, second half, it was just substitutions far too late and same old.
Yeah.
Again, where we offer nothing. You know, I've got to the point now where if I'm watching a game on telly, if it's not Ipswich, you're glued to it. I have it on iFollow, and you know, I watch the whole game. I'm distracted. I'll go and get some, do this and do that, and you come back and you've still done nothing. I've missed nothing, perhaps apart from an opponent's goal. It's just we just offer nothing physically going forward ever. It's boring.
Right, Matt, Luke, Fisherman, I appreciate you. I've got Jimmy coming in from the Roker Report. We've given him the download and all what we've said about our club and how great or not great that we are, but I appreciate the three of you. I'll see you Tuesday. Jimmy, welcome in from the Roker Report. You've heard how good we are. What can we expect from Sunderland?
Who knows? Who knows? It's all a big mess at the moment. I mean, Lee Johnson's come in. He's trying to find a formation. He's trying to find a style of football that works. And we're still very much a work in progress. I mean, yesterday was very similar to our game against you, actually, way back whenever that was, 2 months ago or whatever, in the sense that for half an hour, I'm like, oh, we look good. We look good. We're creating chances. We look like the better team. Is this the Sunderland we've all been waiting for? Are we actually going to put in a good 90 minutes here? And then it all went to shit. We let Shrewsbury back into the game, and they dominated the last 60 minutes. So we're still trying to get up to speed with Lee Johnson. We're still trying to find our way of playing. We're still trying to get up to grips with things. He's changed formations. He's changed the team around a lot. He's brought in a couple young guys, and we're just still not quite at the level we need to be. I think a bit like you guys.
Why did you get rid of Parky then? What was all that about?
A load of things. First of all, not very popular with the fans. Fairly or unfairly, when he came in, we had an awful run to start with, and I think that set in a lot of fans' opinions that this guy just wasn't cut out for it. He wasn't that popular an appointment anyway. But the major one, I think, is that we're hoping we're going to get sold. We're hoping that this French 23 billionaire is going to come in. Yeah. He's gonna open up the cash, and that maybe we're going to finally be run like a 21st century football club. We've been waiting, and maybe now we're actually going to have a long-term project, and he can set us right. And Parkinson being more of an old school football man probably wasn't the right guy to spearhead it. So I think it was both Parkinson's unpopularity within Sunderland, within the community, and also the fact that we're going to hopefully now work with a head coach, director of football model, put more emphasis on our academy. That's what we're all crossing our fingers for. Whether or not it happens in reality at a big club like Sunderland, where the short term's so important, I don't know, but that's the plan.
Sounds familiar, Matt.
Too familiar.
Yeah. Synchronicities here, isn't there?
Yeah, I remember doing a preview pod with another Ipswich fan group back in February last year, and it was just like same bad owners, bad managers, being stuck in stasis. It's very, very similar.
So who's the danger men that we should be sort of keeping an eye out come Tuesday night?
Aidan McGeady's back. You never know what you're going to get with him. The talent's there when he's on his game. He's as good as anyone at this level. I think he's been pretty good in our last 2 games. So maybe maybe he's going to get a rest. Maybe Lee Johnson will rest him, being that he's getting up there, heading into his mid-30s. But he's looked quite sharp recently. Charlie Wyke, Sunderland fans hate him. He's not got a great all-round game, but he just keeps on scoring. So who knows? Another one might go in off his arse. He might shin another one in. He scored a great header yesterday, so he's obviously someone to flag up as well. And then Jack Diamond's also come into our team recently, and he's rapid. He makes about 10 mistakes in the game, but he'll also set up 2 or 3 chances. He'll also skin your fullback and do 10 great things as well. So he's been a real good one to watch. It's been great watching him develop over the last few weeks.
What's the mood on the Roker Report then? Are you thinking you're going to come down and get 3 points from us? You probably are, by the way.
I hope so. I think with Sunderland, we've been so inconsistent, and that's continued through in sort of the early weeks of Johnson's campaign. That I don't think anyone's overly confident that we can actually put back-to-back wins together. We had the big win over AFC Wimbledon. You thought, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And then we lay an egg against Plymouth. So it's just been so inconsistent. I think everyone's a bit apprehensive at the thought of us putting 2 good performances back-to-back.
And you outed Lincoln as well. 4-0, was that?
That felt like the one. And then just the way things are going with Sunderland the last 5 years, you get a brilliant result. You win 4-0 against top of the table. And then the team comes down with COVID. We have to play a weakened team against AFC Wimbledon. We draw that game, and then we don't play for 2 weeks. And then it shows. It shows. We draw 0-0 against Northampton, and we're looking up at the table. And it's only really now that we can see the playoffs in sight again. Yeah. We just can't get any consistency going. You guys seem to be in a bad way at the moment. So fingers crossed this is the one, but it's very hard to predict wins for Sunderland at the moment still.
Good time for you to be playing us, I think, personally, because we don't score many goals. I know you scored 3 at AFC. I think it'd be a really tight game, but I'd still back Sunderland to win.
Burton have scored more goals than we have this season. That speaks volumes. Here's a question for you, Jimmy. I was really when we got Hurst, I was really pushing that we would try and get Jack Ross. So where did it go wrong for him at Sunderland? Because you didn't lose too many games. You seemed to draw a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, the thing with Jack Ross is, and now obviously we're on manager 3 in League One, it's hard to know how much of it was Jack Ross working with a weird squad and how much of it was his limitations. But we never really dominated games. We always seemed to be relying on sort of the individual talents of Josh Madger, obviously went to Bordeaux, Aidan McGeady, Lyndon Gooch, these players who are really good for the level, kind of bailing us out. Like at the start when he came in, he was trying to do short pass and he was trying to press. And what we found is we were conceding a lot of goals in the first 20 minutes. So he sort of abandoned that within 2 months. And after that, there was never really any style. It always just seemed to be rely on the individuals. We drew a lot of games 1-1 where we were the worst team in the first half. Somehow we'd score and then we'd get even worse and we'd let the other team back in. So it just felt like he never really found a style. There are other people who think maybe he lost the dressing room after we lost the EFL Trophy final. But Talk's a good game, really intelligent guy, but it was hard to really see what his main strengths were as a manager, apart from maybe the man management side of things. He never really came across as that much of a talented coach when he was here.
And as a fan of a club that's, like us, used to be a Premier League side, a big giant in this division, what makes League One such a difficult league to get out of?
It's bizarre. I think first year down, I was expecting the standard to be a lot worse. We're like playing teams like Shrewsbury and AFC Wimbledon, and you get to half time, you're like, they're not that bad. They're not terrible. They've not gifted us any goals. They should have scored from a corner. What's going on? And I think maybe it was just a culture shock. I think as well with us, so many managerial changes, so many unhappy players, a lot of players we had a few players that didn't turn up for training in League One. We had another few who were pretty much told they were going to get sold, and then they weren't sold because there wasn't much interest in them and they had to play for us. So it was always just a real mess. I think because we fell down the division so quickly, we weren't really in a great space. We had to rebuild really quickly. The owners we brought in, I think, underestimated the task of rebuilding. I think they thought if we get in good championship players on good wages, they'll sort it out. And maybe we didn't focus enough on what we had in our academy. Maybe we didn't do enough scouting of the lower leagues. We made hard work of it. It's all on us. We just didn't plan right. We didn't treat the league with the respect it's deserved. And now we're in a point where I'm looking at the Sunderland squad. Maybe we've got the best 23 players in the squad, but I don't think our first 11 is significantly better than about 3 or 4 other teams. And we sort of ended up in a spot where we've got a good League One team, but when you consider the wages we're paying, we should have the best League One team. We should have the best team in this league by a distance, maybe with you guys in Portsmouth, but we've messed it up essentially. We messed it up through bad ownership, maybe through bad coaching, but it's all on us.
Same.
I've got a question for you, Jimmy. When's Series 3 of Sunderland Till You Die?
It's done. It's done. It's a real shame. Yeah, it's kaput. I think Season 2 was only agreed because the owners were that confident they were going to go up. They thought this is our victory lap. Like, you see Charlie Metvan, the executive director, who's now left Sunderland, but according to some people, still looms in the background. And he's wearing his red trousers. He had no doubt we were winning the league. I mean, we had him on our podcast after we lost in the playoff final. He was like, "Oh yeah, 100 points next season, 100 points," and that went well for him. So, I think the second season was an ego trip for some businessmen in Oxfordshire who didn't understand football, and they kind of ran out of stuff. They kind of got away from what made the first season good, and I don't know if Netflix would have been interested in the third season, and we certainly didn't want any more humiliation either.
Absolutely. Right, score prediction as we round up then. What do you think the score's going to be on Tuesday night? Jimmy?
I'll go 1-0 Sunderland. Why not?
Good man. Well, you got to be a homer. You got to be a homer. Rich, you going to be the same, or are you going to concede?
2-0 Sunderland.
Oh.
Wow. Matt?
Well, we've lost 3-0 to Hull at home, 2-0 to Charlton, 2-0 to Pompey, 1-0 to Peterborough yesterday. Maybe there was some. I'm going to go 1-0 as well to Sunderland. I can see it.
We lost every top ever, Matt. We lost every time.
You leave it to me every single week, then you're fine. Town are going to win 3-1. All right? I will have to bring the positivity to this party. Good grief. Jimmy, I really appreciate you dropping in.
No problem.
Look after yourself. And we'll raise a virtual beer on Tuesday night with you. So look after yourself.
Yeah, you too.
To everyone who's dropped in today, we appreciate everybody who's dropped in. We appreciate all the comments. The chatter in the live chat has been absolutely off the chart. We've got 1-0 to Sunderland from Ryan. Mark's gone 2-0 Sunderland. Leighton's gone 3-0. Kay's gone for a Nolan goal.
Where's the goal's going to come from?
I was going to actually say, Martin, I thought he played quite well when he came on yesterday, Nolan. I know you don't like him.
He did.
It's that Bristol stool chart all over again, isn't it? Right, we're done.
Did he start Tuesday?
Yeah.
What, over who? Over who?
Dazelle.
Yeah. That's Andre, isn't it?
Quick, somebody dig out the early the summer episodes of Cruncher saying Dozel's the second coming.
No, look, I've said Dozel's a good player, but if you're not playing well, you shouldn't stay in the team.
Absolutely. Right, we're back Tuesday, 7:15, Sunderland Ipswich match day ticket. Myself.
Is it 7:15 on earlier kickoff?
I think it's not. Is it? Don't tell me that.
I'll let you know.
I've got a date beforehand. Don't tell the missus though. Hang on, I'll just have a quick look. It is 7:45, so we're back. I was right. 7:15 live. Myself, Steve, and Neil. We will see you then. With love, with care.
All the best.
Hello and welcome to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.